Hello and welcome. We'll begin on the ground today. So when you're ready, come lie down on your back. Come lie down on your back. You can bend your knees. Put your feet comfortably on the ground. About hip distance wide. And laying your hands somewhere along your low belly. Somewhere along the low belly. Sort of around near the belly button. That lower abdomen area. Yeah. And then just for these first few moments, just observing breath moving through your body. And letting this focus filter out anything else that's been on your mind. You've been using your attention. Turning your focus inwards and start to feel your body and the rise and fall of your breath at your belly. Feel free to let your breath open up organically, so there's nothing that you need to rush or push. But you might start to notice that when we're inhaling, that the abdomen, the belly has this movement of rounding. And we can also think of that rounding lengthening the front of the body. So as your hands ride on the belly, ride on the breath up as you're inhaling, belly moving, rounding. And then when you are exhaling out, try exhaling out through your mouth as though you're blowing through a straw. So it slows down the breath a little bit. You can inhale in through your nose or in through an open mouth. Exhaling out through pursed lips like you're blowing through a straw, so it slows down the exhalation even more. And as you're slowing down the exhalation, noticing and feeling what happens at the belly under your hands. Maybe feeling a deflation or a softening and a settling. Let's just hang out here for about 3 more slow breaths like this, just observing what you feel in your body as you pay attention here. So I sometimes like to think about the other side of the spine. So where our focus is here at the lower belly, we're at the lumbar spine, the low back. And the low back here at the spine creates a curve. There's a natural curve. It's like a little rainbow. So the low back spine curves away from the earth here. Everyone will have a slightly different curve. And the other part of the spine that makes the same kind of shape is at your neck, at your cervical spine. So there at that part of the spine, it too makes a bit of a curve up away from the earth. So just something to be aware of as we move through these actions, these movements. Just keeping in mind what happens at one end of the spine happens at the other end of the spine. So you might pick up some clues if you're having a lot of sensation or experience around the neck could get curious. Is there anything happening similarly down in the low back and the low belly? So from here, just doing a bit of warm-up for our abdominal muscles and these structures of our lower core. When you're ready, take a slow inhale, filling up with breath. Hold the breath for just a moment. Press your right foot into the floor to pick up the left foot, knee bent over the hip, and then like last week, we're going to do the heel strike. So when you're ready, as you're exhaling out, pull your belly in, and slow motion start to lower your left heel to tap the floor. Just going to give it a tap, pulling belly in. And then settle the foot back to the ground where it started. Relax and rest back into the floor. We'll do this 3 more times for the left side. So we're going to go side to side this time, or bilaterally. Take a long breath in. Hold the breath, press the right foot down, pick the left foot up again. This would be unilaterally, actually. As you're exhaling, pulling belly in, slowly start to lower, left heel to tap the floor. Sensing and feeling any shaking, any jerking, any kind of trembling as you do this, pulling belly down towards the earth. And then setting the foot back where it started on the ground. See if there's any other tension in the body that can rest back into the earth in this in-between moment. So let's go for this 3 more times. You can go on your own. Just really taking your time with it. And as you're doing this heel strike action, is there any movement or gripping that happens up at the neck, jaw? For me, my shoulders, or it's really my pectoral muscles, my chest muscles like to get involved with this. So as best we can, letting that isolate down in the low belly and the hip. It helps me a lot to focus a little bit on that press through the opposite foot, pressing right foot into the floor, stabilizing. All right, so finishing up whatever round you're on, and let that be the last round, or if you need to, do 1 more. And then allowing your body to simply relax back into the support of the ground, letting any residual tension or readiness for action melt away for a moment. And then we'll play with that on the other side. Doing this unilaterally, one side at a time, so that it gives our awareness and our brain this extra space to make a comparison. So does this side have a different experience of this action? We'll do a total of 5 heel strikes on the right side. I'll talk us through the first couple. So take a slow inhale, spreading through the belly, spreading through the rib cage, maybe feeling air come up towards the heart and down towards the genitals. Hold the breath, press the left foot into the floor, pick the right foot up. Just the knee is bent over the hip, keeping the knee bent just so as you exhale, pull belly in as you slowly lower your right heel to tap the floor. Is that a different set of sensations? Does this action feel different on this side for any subtle way? And then we're setting the foot back to the earth to relax. About 4 more. We'll do 1 more together. When you're inhaling, allowing the air to expand your body. Hold the breath, press the left foot into the floor, pick the right foot up, right knee bent over the right hip, and then as you're exhaling out, pull the belly in, slowly lower the right heel to tap the floor. Reset the foot to the ground in between rounds. Do it about 3 more. something that might shift the way that this moves, the way that this feels in your body, is to do a little rib cage adjustment before your next round. If you'd like to see what happens when you make that little adjustment to the shape of your ribs, inhale around the ribs, the bottom of the rib cage especially, where your diaphragm lives. And then as you're exhaling, just keeping the feet down, exhale and knit the front ribs down towards your belly button a little bit. And you might have this sense that the mid-back, the back bottom of your rib cage, might make more contact with the ground. See what happens if you keep that while you do your next heel strike. Hold the breath, press the left foot down, pick the right foot up, keeping the ribs knitting in as you slowly lower right heel to tap the floor. And we'll go for your final round here. Take your time. And when you're finished, letting your foot rest down, letting your body completely relax into the earth for a moment. Enjoy a really slow breath all on your own, just at your own pace. Cool. So adding on to this, we'll play with a variation of frog pose. So this moving in and out of frog. Before we do that, though, I'd like us to warm up our hips a little bit before we dive right into that hip exercise. So windshield wiper twist. Feet can be about hip distance wide on the floor, maybe a little bit wider. And we're just going to start to let the legs find a rhythm, a pace that feels good, letting the knees and the feet topple over to the floor to the left. They don't have to touch the ground. Bringing them back to center so your feet are standing, your knees are pointing up towards the ceiling, and then letting them topple over to the right. So finding a rhythm and a pace that feels good to you. Just a few more times. Now, if you'd like, we can add on to this. So as the lumbar spine is rotating, as our pelvis and our hips turn, our legs and our feet turn, we can mirror that with the cervical spine, with your neck. So when your knees and your feet start to look to the right, you can let your head drift so your eyes look over to the left along the floor frame. And then they'll return back to center together. Eyes, nose, knees are looking up at the ceiling, and then they drift the other way. Knees looking to the left, head drifts to look to the right. And the idea of this is that I'd like us to feel for fluidity, no strain. So it's not like if you push deeper into the stretch that you'll get more benefit. Just super gentle here. Couple more. At any point, if you'd like to pause on one side, sink into the pose, and just breathe in the twist, you can hang out for a couple moments, couple breaths. And perhaps if you're holding the twist, you might notice and feel along the side of your ribs, the side of your waist that's up, that's facing or the ceiling. Maybe noticing an elongation that's happening on that side. And if you're holding your twist, just whenever you feel ready, switching to the other side to hang out there for a couple of breaths. Let's finish here in the next 4 breaths or so. Just really taking our time with this one. What can soften while we're here? All right, moving to kind of what I've heard my teacher Jumbo call, I think we're calling this windshield wiper frog. So we'll be coming in and out of frog pose with our breath, turning on our inner and outer thigh and warming up down at the pelvic floor. Some glutes will get involved. So a lot of fun action for our lower core and our hips. When you're ready, pick both feet up off of the floor, knees bent over the hip joint. Your hands might want to rest somewhere on your belly. They could also brace a little bit on the floor by your sides. And just do whatever feels good for your hips. So here, I'd like us to just really exaggerate your next breath in. So slow inhale. Hold the inhalation, knit the front ribs in and down. Keep holding the inhalation as you open up the legs into frog. I'd just like you to feel for where your body says, that's as far as we'll go. Stay there as you exhale out. Just want you to feel and notice that when we do that holding of the breath to bring us into frog, your body might tell you to stop before you typically do. So maybe you do have the flexibility to open up your thighs a little wider, but I'd like you to just listen to your deep core. That's as far as you need to go in your frog. So take a slow inhale here. And now sensing the soles of your feet as you exhale out, spread your feet as though you could widen across the soles of your feet, pulling belly down towards the floor. Now stay in this shape, take another inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to use our inner leg muscles and our belly, pulling belly in to pull the legs back towards each other, knees over hips. So that was a little bit slowed down. We're going to go a little quicker. But I wanted us to do that first diagnostic of like, as far as you opened up, where your core told you to go, that's as far as you need to open all these frogs. So this next round, take a slow inhale. As you exhale, open up the legs into frog. Pause there, take another deep inhale around the ribs. Can you keep knitting the front ribs in and down? As you exhale, pull belly in and draw the legs back towards center. Couple more breaths. Take a slow inhale. Use your exhale to open the legs into frog. Pause in frog to inhale. And then as you exhale, pull low belly in as you bring the legs back towards midline, coming out of frog back to the starting position. We'll do 3 more. Take a slow inhale here. As you exhale, open up the legs into frog. Pulling belly down as you open the legs wide. You're here in frog. Take your time to inhale. And then we're coming out of frog as we exhale, pull belly in, pull the thighs back towards each other. Do 2 more here on your own. So is anything different when your goal is not to max out your flexibility? It's not to go as far as you possibly could go. We're really challenging those inner leg muscles. Maybe you're feeling a bit of a tremble. I know I am. I'm going to give you one more challenge here if you want to add on to this. The next time that you're open in frog, take a deep inhale. Stay in frog. As you exhale, send the soles of your feet 1 to 3 inches forward in space. Whoa! Pull belly in. Take another deep inhale. Stay in this wider, longer frog. And then again, as you exhale, pull belly in. Bring the legs back to their starting position. Now, if that felt amazing and you want to do one more, I won't stop you. Go for one more where you open into frog. Stay in a frog. Exhale your feet forward as you pull your belly in and you knit your front ribs down towards your navel. Stay in that frog. I got a tremble going. And then exhale, pull belly in as you slowly bring the legs back together. And when you're all finished with that, I recommend use your hands to help ease some support to the legs. You can grab the legs, hug them into you, towards your belly, towards your chest, maybe a little bit of rock side to side. Whew. Might also feel good just to let your legs stretch up into the air, do a little fascia shake. So you're just really letting your legs and your feet flop around in the air. Shake them out vigorously. You can go in and out with the thighs. You just want to let all of that tissue shake around. Setting the feet down and letting the legs stretch straight out if the hips want a bit of a break from being flexed. Taking a mini Shavasana moment. Just noticing and feeling again your body moving with your breath as you rest in stillness. Maybe there's some more action happening, some more sensation, or it kind of feels very vibrant right now in my pelvis. So give yourself another moment just to notice what you're feeling in your body. And then when you're ready, roll over to one side. Gently press yourself up. Gently come on up to standing. And now that we have our core and our hips a little more awake, let's play with that breath wave again today. Okay. So with feet about hip distance wide, making sure we're not locking the knees, so there's a little bit of a bend to the knees. Notice, sense, and feel. The next time you're inhaling, pour a little bit more weight towards the toes. Feeling the ribs and the chest lengthen up towards the ceiling. So the front of our body is getting long. There might be this little hint of a back bend happening. It's very subtle. When you're exhaling out, notice, sense, and feel. Can weight flow back towards heels? I know in the recording here in this shot of the camera, we can't see my head, but I'm sensing the top back of my skull lifting towards the ceiling when I'm on the exhale and I'm more in my heels. So as we inhale, rocking forward, almost looking out. So we're kind of craning. That's not a great word, but we're looking forward. The neck is elongating, kind of what happens with our computer neck. Like there's something out over the cliff there that we want to see. When we're on the exhale side of things, leaning weight back into the heels, back crown of skull, lifting towards the ceiling, back of neck, lengthening. Let me talk us through a couple more. As we inhale, rocking forward, looking out over the cliff. As we exhale, leaning back, back of skull, lifting towards the ceiling, towards the sky. Now I'm exaggerating a little bit for the camera, if anybody's needing a visual later with the recording. And I just wanted to point out that we don't have to be doing this, again, to our end range. We're just feeling very subtly here. One piece that we used last week that I missed, we can add it in here. It oftentimes helps me to have the landmark of one hand on belly, one hand on chest, so that when you inhale, we're feeling how the chest is moving away from the belly as we slightly arch forward, weight leaning into the toes. And then as we're exhaling, chest settles towards belly as weight shifts back into heels, back of neck length. Try a few more, about 3 more breaths. And then finishing up the breath that you're on, and just coming back to what feels like neutral to you. And we'll take this, let's add on to this piece. So now we're going to experiment with shifting our weight from side to side, from one leg and foot to the other. So you can step your feet wider than your hips. As we get more comfortable with this, it might become more like a warrior 2 distance with the feet. So you can start off, just any distance wider than your hips is great. Allow the shoulders, the arms, to just get as floppy as they can be, softening and settling, hanging with gravity. Feel the support of the ground through your feet. Now here, most likely we're pretty equal in our weight distributed across our feet. What I'd like us to start to feel for is give a little push off with your left foot. You're pressing left foot into the floor to lean weight into the right leg, letting the right knee bend. So we're transferring weight into the right leg. And I'm also letting my torso, my head, my arms kind of follow over. So as best you can, feel that left foot is pretty light, pretty empty. It's still touching the ground, but most of your weight is right here in this right leg, right foot. Now let's feel the breath wave here. As you inhale, maybe weight flows or shifts into the toes a little bit. The chest lifts away from belly. As you exhale and you feel weight settle back towards heels, especially right heel, push more through right foot. Let arms settle and hang, shoulders relax. And then we're shifting over. We're starting to push through that right foot, passing through center and handing all the weight over to the left leg. So I learned these moves are coming from my study with Brian Campbell, and it's very much Qigong-like. We'll just do this about 2 more times each side, finishing up our practice today. Take a slow inhale, feeling the chest lift, weight moving into the toes. And then as you exhale, just letting everything settle, soften, sink back into heels. When you're ready, pressing off through that foot, feeling weight pass through center at the groin perhaps, shifting over into the right leg. Let yourself take a breath here, sensing and imagining that breath wave. It's okay if what you hear me describing you're not yet sensing or able to feel in your body. You can imagine, and that will be beneficial. That's on the right track. 1 more time to the left. Pushing off. Shifting weight over to the left leg, left foot. 1 more breath here. Slowly inhaling, feeling that breath wave, lengthen the front, leaning weight forward towards the toes. And then when you're exhaling, just really feel that support of that left foot, left leg. Press, press, press. Let the arms and shoulders super wobbly. And from there, press back to center. And you can walk your feet back underneath you. And just bringing one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Feeling our practice with one more deep breath. Observing if breath moves any easier for you or if there are any new sensations you're aware of now. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I'll end the recording. If you have any questions, let me know. Until next time, be well, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.